Welcome into a very exciting episode of The Scene. I'm your host, Bubba Starts, and with me today is Billboard charting recording artist Diamonique Jackson. Welcome to the show, Diamonique.
Hi, Bubba. Thank you for welcoming me.
Oh, my goodness, it's my pleasure. We're just getting to know each other off camera a little bit. I said, screw it, let's record this.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Let's go. Well, we know the highlight there, but tell us a little bit more about you, and we'll get into it.
Okay, well, like you mentioned, I'm a Billboard charting recording artist, singer-songwriter, playwright, vocal producer. Um, I'm a woman of many hats, pretty much all things creative, dealing with music and the arts and acting as well. So I do a little bit of everything. So yeah.
That's fantastic. We just won an award for Content Creator of the Year, and I think that's kind of what we all just are at this point, right? It's just
Are you serious? Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's not Billboard, but it's our Midwest Music Organization. And but it was a great honor, especially because it was the members themselves that vote on it, and the members are the artists that we spent the last year having on our program and having conversations with. So what an honor, right, to be recognized by your peers. I think is more important than like some board of judges or something.
Yeah, and there's no personal bills here. People really don't know you if they didn't see that climb, like you building your podcast to what it is today. So that's definitely, it's like hard work mixed with accolades. So that's dope. Congratulations again.
Well, thank you. But we're not here to talk about me, Diamonique.
Okay.
So where are you from, and where are you based out of now?
Okay, I'm based out of Memphis, Tennessee now. A lot of people hear me. I get half and half. Some people say, like, I hear an accent. Then others are like, no, I can tell you when I'm back at home, they're like, I can tell you've been somewhere else. So I'm from Memphis, Tennessee originally, moved at 17, went to college. Actually, it's crazy that we had this interview today. May 7th of 2016 was the day I walked across stage. So it's something about seven. And I'm on a podcast with you. I love the number seven. So I moved to Texas, got my degree, moved to Sacramento, taught there for a year and done music. I was like, no, I need something more fast paced. Like this is I'm bored. I got to be busier. So I moved to LA, and then it made me eat my words because between traffic, 3 hours of traffic a day, plus gigs in Hollywood, then parking somewhere, my brain said, okay, be careful what you ask for. But nevertheless, I'm grateful. I met a lot of great individuals, and that's when I really started getting a chance to explore myself as an artist and get on Billboard and find out that I really had more to offer. So
I spent a little time in Los Angeles myself. My experience was different. I didn't have a car. I was practically homeless, living on Venice Beach. I never made it really east of the 405 ever. I stayed on the beach with my guitar, Diamonique, and I played music down there. And that's where I found value for what I was doing. I've always kind of a campfire strummer, right? I grew up in the woods of Deadwood, South Dakota. Me and my friends, when we were in high school, we used to start bonfires and go drink all night, and I was the entertainment, right? So I kind of took that with me when I started traveling the West Coast, and I read Jack Kerouac's On the Road and was like, oh, you can just like hitchhike around and do that. I was like, I'm going to go do that. Now, granted, this in like the 50s, right? So a little bit different world, this is early 2000s, mid 2000s. And but landing in Los Angeles, like you say, it's a different world. It is a world.
It's a different world.
And it's just busy, but it's hurry up and wait, right? It's hurry up and wait in traffic.
Get it.
Wait for a parking spot. Wait for your opportunity to shine, because there's so many that are in line ahead of you.
Yeah, they're moving out. And I think that's why it's so expensive. They know you're moving here to get famous and rich, but it's like until that moment, there's so many chapters, like you said, and so many creative stories. The homelessness, I don't have a car, I had to eat ramen noodles for a year, because it's the cost of living. So, but like you said, once you make it through those those roadblocks, it is worth it. So like I said, I didn't have too much of a struggle time. Once things got on, they went on. So I'm grateful to have, like, I got a taste of both worlds out there.
So did your career really take off from the Los Angeles scene?
If you want me to be honest, yes. So yes and no. My first like kind of getting into the industry or getting industry connects was actually in college. I got an opportunity to sing on BET with a Grammy Award gospel singer named Yolanda Adams. And it all happened, long story short, by mistake. I was not meaning to audition to be on TV. I just thought it was a regular talent show. I was like, oh, around the town thing, I'll do it. And then I got a call from my director. He was like, yeah, we got to leave and go to LA. And I was like, whoa, for what? I'm like, they moved the talent show like from Texas to LA. He was like, no, you're singing with a singer. And I'm like, oh, well, what college does she go to? Not quite. She has Grammys and she's a giant. Yolanda Adams. I was like, oh no, I can't do it. I was like, no, I can't do it. So that's what that was my first time on TV at 19. Shout out to UNCF and BET and all the people who played a part in Wiley University for giving me that opportunity. But that was my first introduction where I started getting industry connects. And ever since that moment, I said, you know what? I have to move back to LA. I said, I don't know how I'm gonna get here, but I gotta do it. I just manifested every day. I had on vision boards, LA. You're gonna live in LA doing what you love. And one day I got a call to work there in Hollywood. And that was the but being around the creatives, everybody in my job was already in the industry because they were born and raised in LA. So I didn't have to go there like finding people. They're like, oh, you want this gig? You want this job? So it just worked out. It did.
And exactly, that's a much different experience than someone coming in that just has that dream and lands there. I mean, in some ways, that was me. It wasn't necessarily my dream to go to LA. I'm a country mouse, so
Oh, really?
when you get out there, people are like, "Oh, well, you have to go to LA." Right? It wasn't necessarily like in me that I wanted to go. I was being told, "Oh, you have to be here. That's where everybody
You
is.
have to be here.
You have to be here."
Mhm.
And then I landed there, and I was like, "I can't afford $2,700 a month for a one bedroom."
For nothing, for a bathroom, for nothing, nothing at all. Like this room, yeah, like 2200. I've been in a room like, well, this is one of my bedrooms in my home. My friend was living in Hollywood and he was telling me he was paying 1,800 or something. And I was like, the room isn't divided. Like the bathroom is the closet. Like, what are you paying? $1,800. Jesus Christ. Just because it was in Hollywood. Like that, just because it was in Hollywood. That was the big thing.
Well,
So
but just being there isn't enough. Like you have to be there and to either work for 10 years and struggle for that amount of time to meet the
yeah.
right people finally, or you get very, very fortunate, in which I'm sure you are extremely grateful for, to land in a situation like you did, where here's everything, right? Did it
Yes.
feel like it was kind of handed to you on a platter a little bit?
You know what? I hate to admit that because so many artists who done what I done, they was like, you didn't have any friends out there. You didn't have any family. Like they thought my story was the whole sleeping in the car and thing. And I was like, yeah. And then, I think back, it does sound crazy. I was like, yeah, I didn't have any family. Didn't know anyone. Didn't have anyone like a cousin to crash on. I just had to jump and go. So sometimes I do because I had the nicest coworkers. And one thing I noticed, like you ever heard of the crab in the barrel mentality that comes from like small town? That's because those are from people who operate from a scarcity mindset they don't have. So it's like, I'm not going to tell you about the opportunity. I don't know what this will do for me. Like it's about me. It's about me, me, me. When they're born and raised in LA and they've been afforded to so much, a lot of times my coworkers was doing commercial acting and stuff at like 5, like on milk commercials. So to pass an opportunity to a girl who just moved here at 22, 23, don't know, they didn't care. And I could tell it was genuine. Like, hey, so-and-so on TV's uncle owns this thing. You want to start doing gigs here? It did kind of just come to me because I had no other way for it to come. So to answer your question, yes. I hate to say it, but yeah, I got lucky. I'm not going to lie. I did. I
But
did.
it still takes work. I mean, just to have the opportunities, there's plenty of people that get those opportunities, Diamonique, and completely blow it, right? Like there's
Yeah.
stories out there too. So you obviously put in the work when you were given the opportunity to shine. You went out and you still got to shine. Like
Yeah, well, and I guess that hence the fact that the root word of my name is Diamond. So I guess instinctively I have to live up to that. I can't be dull when it comes to personality and what. So yeah, I will say this. I just stay true to the motto that success is when Success is being ready when the opportune moments presents itself. So when I came in, when I was giving solos, I killed the solos. I remember the first one at work I had to do was a Golden Summers from the musical Sing. And I was like, now I haven't had to sing in front of coworkers like for a while, but it was a theater job. They want to see if you can go in the classroom and teach these kids who are offspring of actors and professionals. We need to show like it's kind of like a show that self-approve on like sing. And I had to sing it, and they were like, oh my God. Okay, like you're qualified, you're qualified. But every time they gave me a shot, whether it was like Roscoe's Jazz Lounge in Long Beach, whatever they gave me, having me come in to do interviews, helping them with their short films, like I was always on. Like because I knew again, I didn't have people there. So you have to be impressive. And that can be a little struggling in LA too, because you're trying to find your way, but you feel like you always have to be on top 10 because everything is a performance. You don't know what the producer is I met the producer who I'm still in contact with today. I met him at the car wash just because I was humming in my own world practicing for a gig. So although that was by happenstance, it still taught me, I was like, oh, I have to be ready at all time. What if I was singing off key, just in leisure? So it's a tough cookie. If you can make it, I will say, if you can make it through LA, and I held it down for about 7 years. If you can make it through LA, even 1 year, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah, because you found a way. Like you found a way to survive. You found a way to thrive there, which a lot of stories don't turn out. Do you feel like being raised in Memphis where things aren't in California? Do you feel like that gave you a little bit of an advantage on some of the people that are, coming from other areas where life is maybe a little bit easier?
What? No one's ever asked me that. Good question. I guess I can say yes, because again, the flip side, those who don't operate with scarcity mindset, even if you do have it, it's not always communicated in a negative form because okay, if American Idol is coming in town, this is all I got. So it is, I guess that is the advantage. Maybe people who are used to the opportunities, my coworkers used to say that too. They said, when people down south or from somewhere else move to LA, they just take off. And us who've been here our whole life, we get things, but we don't get like the big climax. And I said, that's because you guys are used to everything. You don't have to work. You live in a place like I can roll over and say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to audition for commercials. I said, picture living in a place, like you said, that doesn't even groom, that have the space for the opportunity. So once you live in a place, you finally, it's like there's $100 bills everywhere in the room. Like it's like I gotta grab everything. Like grab the bags, grab everything. Let's run out of here. So I can say it did give me an advantage because I was hungry every time. I treated nothing like a half-pitched job. Like I just didn't play that because I'm like, this is all I got in case something ends tomorrow. This is the only audition I have. It's the one you're giving me. So
well,
I went hard.
You didn't take any of the moments for granted. And I think that's easy, especially with the people it sounds like you were around that were these, sons and daughters of people who had already kind of made it, right? That they don't have hunger, right? They don't have what we have. I say all the time that South Dakota keeps the crazy people out just because of the weather. Right? Because
I don't want to be cold. Right.
It'll be, 75 below in the wintertime. Right. So that makes for a different type of individual. Someone who's willing to work and grind it out just to exist, right, is much different than someone who wakes up and it's, 80 and sunny every single day of their life. Like you just have a different mentality.
Your whole mind is different. Yeah, like you said, some people had to wait 3 to 6 months to go on the beach. And I'm like, I lived in walking distance from a beach. I could ride my bike there, so once you finally reach it in your career to have that luxury, like it's like I said, you absorb everything. You're making up for all the years that you were looking at the magazines as a kid saying, I want to be on the beach, or it takes once a year for you to see it, so you're making up for lost times. And like I said, people ask me all the time, like, how did you make it through that? And I did not sleep a lot. That's the only thing, so I don't have self-care tips for that type of grind. I just don't. I worked my off to make sure I could live the life that I wanted to live while pursuing my dreams. So I did do what I loved. I taught. I was a vocal coach in North Hollywood. Um, I was with an agency. Shout out to Great Lock Agency, doing voiceover work, movie work. I was singing here. I was singing there, performing on award shows. I done everything that was on my list to stay afloat because both have to do this. You quit your job, now I'm under the bridge singing. I didn't want to do it like that because I'm like, I don't have anyone else here. Like, if I'm really going to be in my car for real, like with nobody. So I had to hustle. And like you said, it builds so much character when you don't have someone, you catch a flat outside of AAA. I'm like, oh, can you come down to the street? No, sweetheart, you have no one to call. You don't even have a fourth cousin out here. So what are you going to do? So, but like I said, I wouldn't trade that experience for the world because it was a very pivotal me learning those type of life skills in my 20s. And I didn't return to Memphis until 2 to 3 years ago once I got off tour. So this still feels like I'm a stranger in my new home as I'm building because I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that person since kindergarten. Like, who are you? Like, so, but I just don't, I wouldn't trade the journey for anything, honestly.
So, what prompted the move from Los Angeles and kind of away from the glitz and the glamour and to come back to your hometown?
I don't know how deep you want to go with that, but I guess I'll keep it brief. I don't want to talk your ear out. But overall, there's a vocal warm up called One by One They Went Away, and it helps with stagger breathing, your breathing skills, and it goes one by one they went away, one by one and two by two they went away, and you go up and without breathing consistently, right? I call that chapter of my life One by One They Went Away. There was the pandemic. A lot of people lost their jobs at the top. I did not, but I did get furloughed in the back end. So that was the first time out of my years I felt that financial tension that artists are always having on their mind while going through auditions. So that was new. I was like, dang, okay, what am I supposed to do? I need help. Where is help? Geez, everybody's going through it. It's not like a me thing. I'm like, the world is going through it. Everybody's lost. So it started off with job loss, and it went from job loss to finances, of course, eventually getting affected. And I'm like, I'm burning through savings. I'm burning through the gig. I'm just burning because I'm still a very spiritual being. So I knew that something was telling me to go back home, but I didn't want to go because I worked my tail off. I'm like, no, and you don't want to be the hometown girl that gave it your all. And here we are, we have to return to this space again. Like you don't want this storyline. So I'm like, I'm gonna do everything that I can to thug it out. And that wasn't a smart choice. And because I dug a deeper hole for myself than I really had to. So it was that job loss, money loss. I was 1 month from paying my car off in the pandemic, and then I had a total loss wreck that totaled the whole car. So car loss. And then me and my boyfriend went through a breakup. Um,
One
love
by
loss.
one.
One by one, they went away. You know what? To this day, I question asking myself, I'm like, how in the HELL? I don't know if you can curse on your show, whatever. So I'm trying to be
What you want, Diamonique?
huh?
I said, you say what you want.
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't want to be that girl. You like, dang, I gotta edit everything. But honestly, to this day, I'm gonna be for real with you. I don't know how in the hell I made it out of that because it was such a dark time. Because it's one thing to move into a place and feel like feeling alone and you building yourself up, but to feel alone after you've done so much, it kind of makes you, it attacks your pride. It's like, damn, what do I do now? So that happened, but I'm always saved by a big gig. So then I got asked to go on tour with the comedian named Corey Holcomb. And I was like, yeah, I thought that was going to pop me out of my depression from everything shutting down. I was like, yeah, let's go. So I go on tour. And after that, I just got tired of running. I said, this is the time. I said, it's time to move. So after I got off tour, the guy I was touring with was mad. He was like, why are you going back to Memphis? Memphis doesn't have anything. And I said, I have to be in tune. I said, I know all the signs didn't have to be this hard. But I'm hard-headed. I'm a Leo too, so I'm stubborn. I'm like, how many things have to go wrong to get your attention for you to just move? All you have to do is move. You could have still had your money. You could have said, I had all the things, but you didn't want to do it. So it took, like I said, losing the job, losing the money, losing the boyfriend, the car, apartment almost got lost. We had to skate up out of that situation, all to get your attention and just say, start over. That's the beauty of life. No matter what, I don't care what you're coming out of, divorce, bad car wreck, wave. If you're breathing, you have another chance to start over. So that's what led to this. But I'm on the other side of depression. It's May Mental Health Awareness Month. I want to highlight creators. We go through that. We're either very inspired or very depressed. Black or white, hardly ever gray. But I'm just happy to be on the better side of that.
Well, and do you feel like having to, because it sounds like to me that fear of feeling like a failure, not necessarily the fear of failure, but of the perception of being a failure. The girl, oh, she had to come home. Oh, she thought she made it, right? And now she had to come home. It feels like that was kind of driving you to stay more than like, this is keeping me here. There was nothing necessarily keeping you here except that fear of the perception of you going home. And that's a heck of a thing to have to conquer, even if you kind of, miss the signs as they're coming at you or going away.
Yeah, you know what? You make me feel like I need to sign up for therapy again. I'm enjoying talking because some of this stuff I'm speaking for the first time out loud, and I'm like, damn, that really was what was going on. You feel like I'm talking to a therapist. I like the way you think because you make me think from a different perspective. But like you said, it wasn't like I had kids. I don't have children, and I wasn't married to him. Although we talked about it, we weren't married. So, and then when it broke up, like you say, when you break up, it's okay, free game. I go my way, you go yours. Um, Now that you said, I guess it was me being seen like a failure. Like I guess I thrived off success. Because I was always successful. I did this before TV. I'm the oldest, so I have that natural overachiever, have to set the bar high mentality. So I just always felt like people were riding on me to thrive. So to thrive and then to get for life to switch, I'm like, dang, I'm not the girl with all the bands no more. Like I'm not the girl with, my life wasn't as what's the word what I'm looking for? Free as I was.
Right. Well,
extravagant. I'm like, I'm back in Memphis. Like, what?
But you're still the same girl, right? And I think that's what your local community will always think of you like that. I mean, you went away to college, then you went away to LA. Like you always had to have that thing. And while, I'm sure there was a few haters behind your back that were like, oh,
of course, you gotta have haters.
Still had to come back to Memphis. She ain't that big. She still had to come home. I already know. Right, I got a hometown too, Diamonique.
Oh, I hated that. And then just when you're already dealing with it, makes you, it's you don't want to hear. You can't let them know because if you let them know, what is the saying? Never let people know your weaknesses. They'll keep hitting you. But it was like like you said, dealing with it and hearing it. It was really like a mess, like a hot mess, because you feel like everybody knows. Like everybody knows what I'm going through. Everybody knows, and you hear all that talk, and I'm like, damn, you slowly like that. Oh, I got a defeatist mentality, I guess, and that wasn't me because I always won. I was competing with myself.
and not to kind of rub it in, but you were kind of Californicated, right?
So tell me, wait, what does that mean? What do you mean by that?
You were kind of becoming like the people that you first met when you were there. And not that you weren't working and grinding and everything still, but you had grown accustomed to things going very well. You had grown accustomed to all of those things. So to kind of go back to where it's like, oh my God, I got to rebuild everything. I'm going back home to kind of be nobody again. Like I'm sure those, no shit, you got depressed, right? You feel like you're going back a decade of your life when you were here. You were already there.
Oh my God, that's it. I felt like I was going back in time. I was demoted. Oh, that's good. Are you a therapist? You're something.
I didn't really like school, Diamonique. So
yeah, you were life. So you school life, because I'm sitting here like, why is he making me feel like I'm just learning myself? I'm like, But I guess that's what it was. I just wanted my life to be great, like it was.
Well, but it was, and it is again, and thank God it happened when it happened to everybody. I mean, the pandemic in those years of up until, I mean, people would still say even now it's terrible, but I've lived a pretty good life the last 5 years. So
Yeah,
I had a much different experience with COVID than California did, obviously, for a lot of obvious reasons. But
right.
at least you landed in that time where everybody was going through it. And while it felt to you that everybody was watching you, everybody is so self-absorbed, Diamonique, nobody's paying attention, right? And now you've been able to kind of go back home and to continue doing all the things that made you successful in the first place. So
Yeah.
bring us up to current times. What are you doing now? So your background's in education then? Your degree was in education, or?
Yeah, so I have a major, well, my major is in interdisciplinary studies with emphasis in global child development and a minor in music education. So I kept two things because I love music, but I also have a love for children and teaching. That's like one of my other gifts in the many hats that I wear. So that's what I'm doing now. Since I've been home these last 2 to 3 years, I came off tour, rebuilt my life. Everything's been up from there, the COVID splash. Um, I've discovered that I'm a playwright. Didn't know that I was a wrote plays. It started off supposed to have been coming up with something for the kids, and I don't know how we got to a whole production. But I've been writing plays for the school ever since, although I'm not a theater teacher, I'm a music teacher. So they're getting a bonus, bonus from me. So I have that. I just released 2 weeks my single Reminisce. And it's reminiscent of 90s R&B. I've been told that it reminds people like Janet Jackson, J. Cole, No Sleep record, from my friend Nakia. Shout out to her in Little Rock. But that's been my first single since I moved from LA. Like, I've done features, I've been writing for people behind the board, but I have not released any music up until 2 weeks ago since that whole blur of my life. So that it's exciting to be putting out records again, and where people can hear me. I'm opening myself back up. And I guess now you guys get to time travel with me, because on the album eventually I'll be talking about things from the past as well as where I am, because I don't like to stay in one place, because I don't stay in one place. So that's what we are. We're releasing music. We're preparing for the album. We're on the up and up now. We're basically, I'm reintroducing myself back to me. And like you said, you're not a failure because you moved back to Memphis. You're still the Billboard charting recording artist. And
Yeah,
yeah,
they can't
nothing has
take that
changed.
away from you, and they won't take that away from you, and you're going to get back to that level again, right? You're
Yes.
reemerging after a little bit of a hiatus, and time to find new things that you're good at, right? Like,
Yeah.
some people never find one thing that they're good at, and you have several. You have a long list of creative pursuits that you've been able to become a success at, and it's going to set you up for a long career of doing exactly that. I have to tell you
Thank
that
you.
I love that you work with kids, that you're a teacher. My wife is a paraprofessional at our elementary school in town, but
Oh,
she's
okay.
also part of the teacher apprentice program through the state of South Dakota. So she is going to school full time while working full time as a para with some of the harder behavioral kids at that, and is going through an accelerated program. So she's going to graduate with a teacher certificate, double major in special ed and early elementary ed. And she will be graduating in a 2-year program, right? Not a traditional 4-year, all while working full time, right?
While still working a job?
Yep. So she'll do summer school, 17 credits this summer, while working at the school, right, and doing this. And but she's such an amazing woman, and she graduated college already with a business degree, in 2018. Right. So she already had a degree when she took the job as a paraprofessional. But I think man, I saw a whole different side of my wife when she started working at that school, Diamonique. And
Really?
but giving back to her community. We live in my wife's hometown, so we moved from where I grew up in the Black Hills of South Dakota. We moved back to her hometown, a little farm town. Her dad farms about 1,000 acres out here, and we just settled in. And when she found this job, kind of on a whim, It changed who she was, right? It changed who she was because she found a passion for helping people. And I've never
Yes.
seen that part of my wife just as a paraprofessional. And then to be kind of, prodded by her principal and superintendent to at least apply for the program and then getting selected for it last year around the same time that we started this podcast. It's a big reason why I kind of let go of my everyday, job. I worked in a factory and I made okay money, right?
Right.
But I knew that between working full time and going to school full time, that I was going to need to be more available at home, right? And
Yes,
to be here
absolutely.
to do those things, to kind of be the house husband, and we have children, right? So taking care of a lot of those things so that she was available to pursue that dream.
Everything, her dreams. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and she's 10 years younger than me, Diamonique. So I was like, you know what? I've lived a lot of my life already and I've got to pursue a lot of my things. And in some ways I still am now, right? Having conversations and this is now my life, right? Where I'm a
Yeah.
performer and a songwriter myself. But I lived through
I
all of
didn't
that.
know that. Okay.
Well, and I never had the passion. I don't know. I just never knew the route. I never knew the way. I was raised playing in bars since I was 14. I learned how to play a guitar, and my dad's like, cool, you're in the band. And then I was just in bars playing and getting paid. So I didn't know that, like, oh, you have to like dedicate yourself to a craft. And in some ways, I took advantage of the fact that South Dakota is a small area. It doesn't take a lot of talent to be the most talented person in your hometown, right?
Mhm.
The big fish in a small pond. I had that, and I still live that, right? I mean, I was on the TV news station in the biggest town in the two biggest markets in South Dakota, back-to-back weeks, essentially, right? It's very easy for someone with a little bit of talent and a little bit of determination to open a lot of doors in South Dakota. Now I'm busy trying to figure out, well, how do you unlock those doors in Minnesota? How do you unlock those doors for yourself in Illinois, right? How do you stretch this farther and start to reach these bigger markets and having some awards in your back pocket, or, the same as being a Billboard charting artist? Like, they can't ever take that away from you, right? That goes on the
Yeah.
stays forever, and it's going to open doors for you. It's going to continue to open doors
And
for you.
it continues to, right.
Yeah, well, and it makes guys like me really excited to talk to you too, because I'm like, I mean, I've had, Bill Payne, who is the founder of Little Feat, an old, classic rock band.
Oh, yeah.
That was like one of my first 10 interviews on this show. It's like,
oh, so you kind of came out the gate swinging yourself.
I don't know how.
Being connected to the big dog. What was it? The big dog, big guy.
Because there's no media out here. There's a few radio stations, there's the 2 TV networks, and there's like 5 podcasts that talk about music in the whole state. So I was very fortunate to be connected, and they're like, hey, all of a sudden you get an email and it's like, hey, Little Feat's coming to town. They want to talk to you. And I was like, this ain't real. This ain't real. I emailed my mom and I was like, what do you think of this? And she's like, well, it's a California area code. You should at least try to call them.
Yeah, right? That's like start there before we lose the opportunity.
Right, exactly. But then, then you're having a 45-minute conversation with someone who, I mean, played with all of my heroes. This man played with B.B. King and all of the blues people.
Hey, Memphis.
But, yeah, I love music, and I love the blues especially. I'm looking forward to coming to Memphis for my first time this summer, so I hope we get a chance to connect while
Please, and I hope it falls on where I'm in the city doing the shows. I do a lot of traveling this summer, but I make sure I still keep in-town shows consistent as well.
Good. Well, I'm going to get your schedule before I let you go today, and I'm going to know exactly where and when you're at, and I'm going to make it a point to be there. Why don't you go ahead? We'll take an opportunity to plug it right here. I know me and you could just talk all night if we want.
Yeah, you feel very comfortable. I like him. We can be friends. I'm like, that's my new guy.
Thank you. Why don't you go ahead, plug everything, tell people where they can find you, and then we can talk more the next time you come on the show.
Cool, absolutely. So again, Diamonique Jackson, everyone. Thank you so much, Bubba, for having me. I'm grateful. You can find me on Facebook under Diamonique Jackson, D-I-A Monique. That's a quick switch, but D-I-A Monique Jackson. But you pronounce it Diamonique Jackson. You call me Diamond for short. Instagram handle is I am Diamonique Jackson. So all things, you'll see my link trees on all of those, and it'll lead you to all. You could be nosy and all up in my business from TikTok to Snapchat. So yeah, no judgment.
Go. You heard it from her. Get all up in her business.
Please.
Jackson, thanks for being part of the scene.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.